Hey, what's up everybody? My name's Brian and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at these ICON ratcheting wrenches. Like it or not, we're going to be checking these out today. I purchased these a while back when I did a $1,400 Harbor Freight tool haul. If you haven't seen that video, I'm going to put it up top right there. But I've done quite a few ICON videos in case you've been under a rock, but there are people that still are interested in these tools, and I'm also interested in these tools still as well. And I haven't had a chance to check out the ratcheting wrenches until I purchased them. Now, Harbor Freight did send me out some ICON tools a couple months ago, and I just want to be honest with you about that. But I've done a video about a million different ICON videos, but I did a video about my final thoughts on ICON tools. If you haven't seen that video as well, you can check that out. Now, my final thought in that video was just of the tools that they sent me that I had, including the sockets, the ratchets, and their regular combination wrenches. So I went out and I bought the ratcheting wrenches, standard and metric, and I also picked up the metric set of stubby ratcheting wrenches, but I'll do a separate video on those. So they do offer two different styles of these ratcheting wrenches, one with teeth and one without teeth. And the ones I have here are the ones with the teeth. But when we start to look at these teeth on these wrenches, we can see a pretty big difference from the standard combination wrench sets that Harbor Freight sells. They look completely different. We can see in the middle, they both bulge in, and I guess supposedly to give you a more secure grip of the bolt. But we'll take a look at that and we'll try to make these slip, and we'll try to break one of these. I'm not going to intentionally break one, but I am going to apply a significant amount of force and see if it breaks. Now, the pricing on these wrenches, the metric set, you're going to get 10 to 19. You get 10 wrenches, and it's going to cost you about $149. Now, they did have a coupon for SEMA when I bought these, so I paid like $119, $130. I can't remember how much for these wrenches. But the standard set, I believe, comes in at $119.95, but you only get 3/8 to 3/4 on the standard set. So you're only getting 7 wrenches with the standard set, and you're getting 10 with the metric set. They look identical though, as far as the teeth goes, and as far as the lengths go of the comparable ratchets, like 14 compared to 9/16. Now, these ratcheting wrenches, they wouldn't just be a standard set of ratcheting wrenches, because I do have a Matco set of ratcheting wrenches that we're going to take a look at, reversible ratcheting wrenches. And we're going to compare them to these ICON wrenches. And also I'm going to show a quick comparison of the regular combination wrenches as well. Now, the Matco set that I own, it's a set from 8 to 19, and I paid like $300 for that set. So we're looking at roughly double the price. Now, you do get 2 more wrenches with the Matco set, but we'll take a look at the differences in those wrenches, because neither one of these wrenches are made in the USA. They're both made in Taiwan. So we're going to take a look at what's supposedly supposed to be some higher grade tool truck quality tools, but that are not made in the USA. So we'll get a comparison of those two. Now, I do have a set of Snap-on flank drive wrenches that will also take a look at the length comparison compared to these, because your Snap-on wrenches are typically longer than your other wrenches you're going to get, which is one of the draws to Snap-on wrenches. Now, Snap-on wrenches are obviously the best wrenches. In my opinion, they are the best wrenches, but they're also really expensive. So let's go ahead. We'll start off. We'll bring you over here and we'll check some clearances. We'll take a look at some comparisons, and then we'll try to put these on some bolts, make them slip. We'll take a look at the ratcheting function and everything else. So come on over here. Okay, so you can see I have the wrenches separated here. I have the ICON reversible ratcheting wrench 19mm right here that we're doing the review on, the ICON combination 19mm wrench right here, the Matco 19mm reversible ratcheting wrench right here, and I have the Snap-on flank drive 19mm right here, and so on and so forth. Here I have the Carlisle that's added in with the Matco, and then over here I have standard sets. Now, I don't have anything really in standard. I don't do much with standard. Now, I do like to have standard just in case, but you can pretty much get by with the metric system. Now, if I was going to buy something and I only had enough money to buy one of whatever the set may be, wrenches, sockets, whatever, I would just choose metric just to start with. Now you can add standard later, but I would choose metric to start with. But we have the 3/4 inch ICON reversible ratcheting wrench right here compared to the 3/4 inch ICON combination wrench right below it, 5/8. And then just for fun, all by its lonesome, I have the gear wrench flex head ratcheting wrench right here. Now this is not reversible ratcheting, but we have this here for a purpose, which we will show here shortly. Now let's start off with the length of these. Now, for instance, Snap-on, they have a standard set of wrenches, which you can see here. Snap-on standard wrenches are long wrenches, which is one of the great things about Snap-on wrenches. They are some of, if not the best wrenches on the market. Once you hold a Snap-on wrench in your hand, I mean, everything else just doesn't cut it anymore. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I love Snap-on wrenches. These things feel great in your hand. These things are amazing. These things are the best wrenches on the market, no doubt about it. But when it comes to price, man, we're looking at $500 plus for a set of ratcheting wrenches. And we can just see the difference. I mean, the difference compared to this 19 millimeter, say for instance, compared to this Matco wrench, I mean, the length difference is ridiculous. And like I said, I paid $300 for this Matco 72 tooth ratcheting wrench, reversible ratcheting wrench set. And these are both made in the same spot. These are made in Taiwan. These are made in Taiwan. They do have a set of Matco reversible ratcheting wrenches that are 88 tooth, and the price of those was $200 and something more. So at the time, I was just like, man, you can keep those teeth. If I ever get to the point to where I'm sad that I didn't choose the extra 16 teeth, the extra degree and a half that I'm gonna gain from spending that extra $200, then, you know, I'll deal with that then. But at the time, for the price, I just couldn't justify spending that price. Now, I would love to see ICON come out with a higher tooth count ratcheting wrench. 72 teeth is sufficient for the most part, but there comes a time that you may need those higher tooth count ratchets, wrenches, whatever. Now, there's obviously the arc swing difference in your higher tooth count ratcheting wrenches compared to the 72 tooth count. These are $150, as I said, for the metric set, $120 for the standard set. The Matco set, $300, same tooth count, made from the same area. We can try to see if there's any differences. And the first difference that I do notice from these Matco ratcheting reversible wrenches that I can notice is the switch. This switch is nice, big, and beefy, and the detent is nice. It does hold in place. Whereas we look at the ICON, the switches are smaller. They are quite a bit smaller, and the detent is not quite as forceful as the detent in the Matco reversible ratcheting wrenches. And we can also notice a big difference in the sound, and I'm going to try to pick this up for you, and I hope it picks up. This is your Matco 19 millimeter. Let's listen. Sounds like a cat purring, don't it? I don't know how that's picking up. I'll try to get a good sound for you, but we'll see how it works out. This is your ICON 19 millimeter. It's a lot grittier. It has a completely different sound. And when we look at the gear wrench 19 millimeter, and this is the reason why I said we're going to have the gear wrench out, is we're going to listen to this sound. The gear wrench is closer to the Matco, and it's less gritty than the ICON. Does that make a huge difference? I don't know. I mean, the sound, is that going to bother you? I don't think the sound's going to bother you, but I think it does give us a good idea of how well these are greased and how well these are made, judging off that sound. So just judging off the sound, I would have to say that I think the Matco reversible ratcheting wrenches probably are of a better quality than these ICON reversible ratcheting wrenches. How much of a difference? Is it twice the price difference? Judging off of what I've used these wrenches and just everything else, I would have to say, no, they're not worth twice the price. And I would also have to ask myself if it's worth to pay $500 something for the Snap-on version. And, you know, judging off of what I've seen, judging off of all the factors, I would have to say, no, the Snap-on is not worth 5 times, 3.5, 4 times the price of these ICON reversible ratcheting wrenches. First off, the length of these wrenches are amazing for the price. I mean, we can see, you just look at this 19 millimeter compared to this Matco 19 millimeter. I mean, it's amazing the difference. It is ridiculous, the difference. Why do you need a longer wrench? Obviously, you're going to be able to get more leverage with that wrench, but you're also going to be able to reach more places. Your longer wrenches serve a lot of different purposes, so I do love a long, slim wrench. Now, we can look at the difference in thickness of these. These Matco wrenches are thicker by appearances than these ICON wrenches. Let's get a measurement. We're looking at this 19 millimeter Matco wrench being 250 thousandths thick, whereas your ICON 19 millimeter is coming in at about 230 thousandths thick. So the Matco is thicker. Now, typically when your tool is thicker, but they're the same tool, and this is obviously longer, so that may make a difference, but when your tool is thicker and it's the same type of tool, for example, this is a 19 millimeter, the reason that they're thicker for the most part is because the metal is cheaper, so they have to make them thicker to be able to compensate for the cheaper metal. So for instance, let's look at this 19 millimeter Snap-on, and we're seeing it come in at about 220 thousandths thick. So the Snap-on is the thinnest. Why is it the thinnest? It's made in the USA. It's probably of higher grade metal than both of these other wrenches. And they can make their wrenches slimmer and thinner, and that's why I said when you hold this Snap-on wrench in your hand, you can feel a difference. You can tell a difference. But when we start talking about pricing, I paid $300 for that. This wrench is thicker, made in the same place. The switches may be better. The detent is better. This may be an overall better wrench, but this comes with a lifetime guarantee. This comes with a lifetime guarantee. This wrench is almost a third longer than this Matco wrench. That's going to make a huge difference to me. So if I had to choose right now, if I was to choose knowing what I know, would I choose to pay $300 for this, giving the convenience of the tool truck coming, giving the convenience of being able to make payments on this versus paying even full MSRP, $150 minus what I got it for because I did pay cheaper for this? Man, I would probably choose the ICON, to be honest with you. I mean, as I've gotten older, I've learned a lot, and you know, I have learned the value of money. I think a lot of people feel the need to buy these expensive tools, and maybe I'll do a video on that later on, which I need to do a video on it later on because I don't think it'll make a difference, but maybe somebody can learn from what I've learned over the years versus going into so much debt like I've went into over these tools. But let's take a look at clearance. Now, what I mean by clearance is the amount of clearance between the head of this and the fastener you're going in. Obviously, there's going to be some clearance. You want to be able to fit the wrench on there comfortably, but you also don't want to have too much clearance to round that fastener off. So let's see if there's any difference. First off, we'll check the difference between the 3/4 inch ICON combination wrench and the 3/4 inch ICON reversible ratcheting wrench. Obviously, we're using a dial caliper here that measures in inches, so 750 thousandths is 3/4 of an inch. Let me try to do this so there's no confusion here. I don't want anybody to think I'm trying to cheat for the ICON ratcheting wrench over the ICON combination wrench. Okay, it's looking at like 700 and around 54 thousandths for the ICON reversible ratcheting wrench. And obviously that's going to give us about 4 thousandths clearance to get on the fastener. And you know, that's good. obviously to allow us to fit on the fastener easier, but just in case there's any amount of rust or anything. And like I said, we don't want too much clearance either because we don't want to round our fastener off. Whereas we can see the combination is, it's closer to 755 thousandths versus the 754 thousandths of the reversible ratcheting wrench. So there's not a humongous difference. Now let's look at, I don't have standard in Snap-on and everything else, but we'll just take a look at the difference in, we'll measure the Snap-on first, 19 millimeter. This should be close to 3/4. Looking like about 751 thousandths for the Snap-on. We'll check the ICON combination wrench. Looking like about 752 thousandths. So we have a thousandths difference so far. We'll look at the gear wrench just for fun. Looking like the gear wrench is about 753 thousandths. Then we'll look at the Matco. It's looking like the Matco's at about 754 thousandths. Now we'll look at the ICON reversible ratcheting wrench to see if there's any big difference. Looking like about 752 thousandths for the ICON reversible ratcheting 19 millimeter. So we can see 750 thousandths is roughly equal to 19.05 millimeters. So these are all pretty close to the same. A thousandths is a lot, but it's not a humongous amount to where I think it'll make a big difference to where we're looking at 751 thousandths versus 752 thousandths. It may make a difference, it may not, but we can see they're all pretty similar in clearance. Now, I don't want to sit here and go through all of these wrenches, obviously, to measure the clearance on all of them, but I just wanted to pick one, do one that I have a similar one of all. But okay, I'm gonna put a 19 millimeter wrench. I'm just gonna use the ICON original combination wrenches and then the ICON reversible ratcheting wrench to do this test. Now I'm just gonna put the 19 millimeter on there. I broke out Big Bertha, the 3-foot cheater pipe, and I'm gonna put it on there, and I'm not gonna try to break these wrenches. Like I said, I'm not interested in breaking these wrenches, but what I do wanna do is apply a significant amount of force to where I feel like it would be something that I would do given the right circumstances, but I don't wanna go too far. So what we're gonna look at is we're gonna look at the grip from these wrenches. We're gonna see if one is superior to the other, and then we wanna see how far the jaws spread apart on these. So we're gonna start off with the ICON 19 millimeter combination wrench. Now we've already done this. We've seen these wrenches in action and they actually do have a pretty good bite. So let's see how this holds up. Broke the bolt. I'm gonna switch down to something a little bit smaller real quick, and let's try to use a 14 millimeter. So here we go, ICON 14 millimeter. The teeth are in good shape on this wrench still. All right, just like before, I don't expect this wrench to slip. So we've seen, I mean, it's pretty much gonna spin the threads completely off of that. Let's switch up to the ICON 14 millimeter reversible ratcheting wrench. Let's see if there's any difference. All right, these are they're not gonna slip on these nuts. They're just gonna keep turning it. They both seem to have a pretty similar bite, even given the T-style differences. One thing we do notice though, the difference in the open end on these is we can see that there's actually a cutout in the ICON combination wrench set. And that is for, like I said before, you can see how far it fits over the fastener. It engulfs the whole fastener, whereas you can look at the ICON reversible ratcheting wrench and we'll see a big difference. And we can see here that there's a significant difference from the amount that that wrench can cover versus the combination wrench. And this is more similar to your Snap-on, Matco, and gear wrench style wrenches, whereas we can see here that the Matco is pretty much similar to the ICON reversible ratcheting wrench, and it's the same thing with the Snap-on. And even though the Snap-on doesn't go as far in, we've seen in the last video that the Snap-on grip is actually superior than the ICON, so I don't know if that's going to make a tremendous amount of difference or not, but that's just a difference I noticed when looking at these wrenches. I ran a couple more nuts down over top of the other nuts. Let's take a look at the box end of this wrench. Now, I'm going to put a pipe on this. We're going to hope that the teeth don't slip. We're going to hope it doesn't break, and I'm not going to try to break it, but I do want to see about how much it can take. Okay, grip pretty good. Let's go ahead and switch it off. All right, put this off. I didn't break any teeth, and it doesn't appear that there's any damage on the inside, so that's good. Still sounds pretty smooth, still switches. So it's still functional after that. Like I said, I wasn't trying to break it, man. I do want to try to use it how I would use it in an extreme situation. Now, let's go ahead. I'm gonna put this hardened Allen key in, and this time it will slip, and this time we will get an idea about the jaw spreading open, and we'll also get an idea about how strong this metal wheel is, because if you remember, the last video I did, I was able to make the Pittsburgh wrench break pretty easy. So this is a good test for strength, and also is going to be a good test for the durability of the material. Now, as I said before, this material is a lot harder than your chrome vanadium that these tools are made out of. So we are going to expect to see some sort of damage from the jaws of the wrench after this test. Now, in the last video as well, I did the Snap-on and the ICON similar to this, and the Snap-on actually had almost no markings compared to the ICON. So Snap-on material was a lot harder than the ICON. Now, the Snap-on wrenches were older. The ICON wrenches were pretty much new at the time. So let's go ahead. This is a 1/2 inch. Now, since I've already done this test with the ICON combination wrench, we can get a look at the teeth of that already so I don't feel like I need to replicate this test, but we can see it did pretty much wipe those teeth off to look more like the teeth on these wrenches, as a matter of fact. So we know that this did damage the Icon, and it damaged the Carlisle as well. It wiped the teeth off that. Snap-on was largely unfazed. Let's go ahead and put this on, and let's get a look and hope it doesn't break. And like I said, let's look for jaws spreading open, and we're gonna look for damage to the tool. I say that grip pretty good. And we can see some damage, but it's nowhere near the damage from the original test on the Icon. Now there is less teeth here, but actually the only visible damage I can really see is to the outside right here. I gotta say, I mean, all in all, judging off of what I've done right here, they seem to grip pretty much the same. I'd like to do it. I'm gonna do a test. I wanna see if the teeth really do matter. Everything, all in all, comes with the case. They look great. They're reversible ratcheting wrenches for $150, man. I mean, these are pretty nice. I'm continuing to be impressed with the way Harbor Freight is doing things. Now, a lot of people have been upset with the direction they're going, and they feel like they should stick to cheap tools. I am different from those people. I feel like they should add the good tools on top of it. I, for one, want to be able to go into a physical store to be able to buy these higher quality tools and to be able to warranty those tools at that store as well. And I mean, when it's all said and done, the wrenches, the length, I mean, everything about them, man, it's a great deal. So if you're a professional just starting out, or a DIYer that wants a good quality set of wrenches, then I would have to tell you that the ICON wrenches, whether it be the combination wrenches, the reversible ratcheting wrenches, and obviously I'm gonna do the video about the stubby ratcheting wrenches later on, but from what I know, from what I see, I honestly think these are a great deal. I think they're definitely high quality, and I hope to see the ICON tools to succeed, and I hope to see Harbor Freight to succeed, and I hope to see that they fix the issues that they've had with the flex head ratchets and with their chrome sockets as well. Now, $150, it can be, it can seem expensive, and it is pretty expensive. I mean, there's a lot of other options out there as well, but I like the ICON name. I like the look of ICON. I like the way they're going. So me personally, I think that these ICON wrenches can be used in a professional setting by a professional, and I will be proud to use these tools. So I'm happy with them. I'm happy with Harbor Freight, the way they're going. I'm happy with it all. So I appreciate you guys watching. If you want to watch the ICON combination wrenches, the original video, click this video right here. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, click this round button right here. I appreciate each and every one of you watching. And till next time, stay real.